And we're live. It's a Sunday stream of Blockbuster Underground coming to you live from the cave. In slight disarray back there. My apologies. Still working on the rest of the shelving, so it's a work in progress, as I always say. Anyhow, I've got a fair bit to cover today. Some of it's news that came out a little while ago that I just haven't put my 2 cents worth in, you could say. Not that it would even be worth 2 cents, because these companies obviously don't have a fucking clue. I've got money to spend on this stuff, but they've got no stuff for me to spend it on. Kind of a weird situation to be in. Anyway, such is the life of a Star Wars collector in this day and age. And I'm not going to start ranting about back when I was collecting it first. They were $2.50 in a TG&Y in St. Pete Beach. And I remember, that was the Hoth Rebel Trooper. Obviously the 78, 1980 version from the original line. But yeah, those were the days, man. You'd walk into a toy aisle and they would just have, it would look like a fucking wall. Like, you know reality why or how. And it would just be, figures would be falling off the pegs. Nowadays you go into the store and the pegs are falling off the walls with nothing on them. Anyhow, precursor aside, Hasbro went and announced the remainder of the figures that they're doing for the next little while, which have been few and far between, especially at the Walmart in my neck of the woods. So, last figure I got was the Incinerator Trooper, and that was in February. Last time I saw any new stuff, it was the repack wave with the peasant Anakin Queen Padme from Episode 1 that we all were clamoring for, and a battle droid, and TIE fighter pilot, and all repacks. It's like, come on, really? So they do this big rah event for, I think it was for May the 4th, actually. It must be, I didn't know it must be that old. Shows how often I do a video. Anyway, so they announced the next lines for the vintage wave, which are the 3 3/4 guys like Rebel Guard right there, this size. It's basically most of what I collect. So, they come out and they're like, oh, guess what, guys? We're doing a repack of one of the clone troopers we had in a 3-pack about 6 months ago. Then, we're going to do a Jawa that's going to be exactly the same as the one that's coming in the Razor Crest that's supposed to ship in October. And then, last but not least, they're doing one of the new Ewoks. And it's like, woo. Then, on top of that, they say, that's not all. We're doing a Walmart exclusive, the Kiss of Death for any figure that tries to hit retail is an exclusive. Especially Walmart. I mean, they don't even have Walmart exclusives up here in Canada. But down in the States, I've read online on a bunch of collecting sites where people are just pulling their hair out trying to find these figures. Because you can only get them at those stores, and if they don't have them, then you're looking at online. But anyway, that line is going to consist of a Death Star droid on a vintage card, which isn't even vac metalized to look like the original one. I guess they really wanted to go cheap. But anyway, on top of that, we're getting a Luke Skywalker Endor outfit with the poncho and the whole 9 yards. And the mock-up of this thing, the helmet's not removable, and the poncho, the belt, looks like a piece of elastic band with no details on it. So, yeah. And then they decided to redo the Tusken Raider that came out back in 2004, which is still a pretty solid figure. I've got one back on the, if you can see back there, can you see from here? No, you couldn't see it from this angle. I got all the first 13 lined up on the original card back thing they released in the early bird. But, yeah, the Tusken Raider they've got out wasn't bad. They've done a couple more since then. The main difference on this one is going to be a new head. Woohoo! She's got a new hat. Smithers. And they ball jointed his elbows now, so he can hold his attack stick better, his gaffy stick better. And last but not least, they decided to do a fan vote for between a bunch of figures I think one of the skiff guards for Jabba's palace was one of them. He lost. The winner was the Republic Trooper from the old Republic video game, which was an expanded universe figure, which is apparently not canon with Star Wars anymore, but they're re-releasing him? I don't know. And there's a Target exclusive where you can get a prototype Boba Fett, which looks like the old 5 points of articulation vintage one. And he's going to have different colors for different limbs. So some will have a yellow leg, blue arm, a red other arm, and there's a whole bunch of different versions of that available. But again, it's not something I am leaping at getting, no matter what. So yeah, pretty disappointing overall. They're still saying they're going to finish the 96 original Kenner. And at this rate, God, I mean, get on it, Hasbro. Shit. I mean, they can put out, like, you know, great looking clone troopers, but they can't fill out the last of the vintage figures that we need to complete the new redone version of it all. I'll tell you, it makes me shake my head. Just like this. Anyhow, enough with my ranting and raving about Hasbro. It is what it is. I mean, I blame partially the Walmart locally, because I don't think they even think to order the stuff. If it arrives, I'm pretty sure about 20% of it is taken from the back room stock area by employees before it even hits the floor. I've seen that, where it's like three of every single figure in the wave except one. And it's like, wait a second. Like, the chances of that, whatever. On to some movie news. There was a recent report I read somewhere, I forget where, online about Shang-Chi and the Eternals, which are Marvel's two big movies still coming out, as well as Black Widow, before the end of this year. And apparently, both of those movies are being banned in China. And they are not going to be showing there, which is going to take a huge bite out of the potential box office on both of those. And it seems, from first look, it seems strange, because Shang-Chi is like an Asian superhero. And The Eternals is directed by Chloe Zhao, who just won Best Director for Nomadland. Turns out, apparently, Chloe Zhao is blacklisted in China because back in 2010 to 2012 sort of time frame, she did an interview where she was kind of saying some bad things about China, and she got blacklisted. So that's why that's not happening. Shang-Chi, I don't know. I mean, they may still come around and figure out a distribution deal, because, like I said, that's a huge box office in China, and they don't fuck around. If they like a movie, you get fucking swamped with cash. But if the chance isn't there to even screen up there, then wow. So we'll see what happens on that one. Venom 2 trailer dropped. Let There Be Carnage. Looks cool. I've seen people complaining online already. Well, Carnage looks like crap. I'm like, we saw it for 2 seconds. Come on. Like, jeez. I thought, they leaned a little too heavy onto the comedy. I was hoping more for, like, the horror aspect of what this is supposed to be, but, like him walking into the convenience store and he's like, hey, Mrs. Chen, and Venom's like, hey, Mrs. Chen. And she says hello to both of them. It's like, what the hell? So, I don't know. It's Andy Serkis directing it, so I'm hoping it's going to be really good. And the last one, last one was okay. It wasn't like, didn't blow my socks off kind of thing, but it was a decent enough watch that I'm curious to see what they're going to do with the sequel. Next to that, apparently tonight, during the MTV Movie Awards, they still do those and people still watch. But yeah, apparently they're going to be debuting the trailer for the G.I. Joe Origins Snake Eyes movie, which is coming out in July. Not sure why we need this film. That being said, I mean, he is my favorite character. I just hope they don't fuck it all up. Because the last couple G.I. Joe movies, they were fun to watch, but that wasn't really G.I. Joe. I mean, they tried. but it was a little. I mean, I was gonna say it's a little too outlandish, but Jesus, we're talking about GI Joe here. I mean, but you catch my drift. And I mean, there's a billion different ways they could have done those. Um, but yeah, the movies had moderate success. I mean, The Rock was in the second one. You had Channing Tatum in the first one, so you know they did okay, but they've got to get that franchise figured out because there's a wealth of like stories and characters and stuff that you could pull from the way to the very beginning of GI Joe. You can there's so much to work with, and how they just can't seem to figure out the secret sauce. I'm not sure. Speaking of secret sauce and the Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder's new zombie flick, they dropped the first 15 minutes of it on YouTube. Actually, is where I found it, and it's gory as fuck. I mean, I was watching it initially on my phone, and I was like, it was pretty dark most of the scene, so I was kind of trying to figure out what was going on. So I rewatched it on TV later on, and it's gonna be fun. It looks completely ridiculous, but that's exactly what we need about now, is something totally mindless to get our fucking minds off all the other bullshit that's going on in the world. So yeah, the Army of the Dead's hitting Netflix, I think, the end of this month, and I think it's playing in limited theaters right now. Snyder was actually at one of the premieres, and he was talking to some fans, and he was like, "Hey, you want to see a picture of Green Lantern from my cut of the Justice League?" And he whips open his phone and shows them a picture of, I think it was Wayne T. Carr was playing John Stewart, and they ended up having to cut the whole scene out. There's tons of stories about that online. I think Zack Snyder talked about it in length at one point. But he had a photo of the finished product of what he looked like in the movie, and he was like just showing it around to fans. Crazy. TV news, Netflix. I actually just started watching the Halston show with Ewan McGregor. It's pretty good. The acting is amazing. It is there is graphic sex in it. I will warn you. So be warned of that. But Ewan is doing an amazing job. Only on episode 2. I think it's a 5-episode run in total, so it's not very long. About 45 minutes apiece on the episodes. I was watching one reviewer, and they said that Ewan McGregor's character is almost like Roman Sionis from Birds of Prey mixed with like Buddy from Mad Men, because he's a fashion designer, and it's based in the 70s, and just what he's going through to try to get the brand going and everything else, and the relationships he's got on the side, and he's picking up guys throughout the show. So it may not be for everybody, but it's a brilliant character study, and Ewan McGregor's doing a fantastic job so far. Bill Pullman just showed up as some potential investor. So yeah, thumbs up on this so far. It's really good. For a not so thumbs up would be The Flash season 7 so far. Like, holy disjointed chaos, Batman. The last episode, especially when they were splitting apart the 4 forces, it looked like the goddamn logo for Windows. Come on. I mean, they don't seem to know which way is up this season going forward. And, obviously the shutdown last season screwed everything up, and the beginning of this season was basically the end of last season, and then they started the new season about 3 or 4 episodes in, sort of thing. And then it's kind of been going all over the place since then. So, I don't know. I'm hoping the last stretch of this season kind of ties up some loose ends. It's not looking like it is, because from the looks of the set photos, Nora, who died in season 5, and now we got Bart Allen showing up. From the set photos I've seen of, I think it's Jerome Fisher is the actor's name, playing Bart. But how they're going to explain this, I just, come on. This is getting beyond ridiculous. But, I've come this far. I'm going to see it out till the bitter end. One person who might not see it out to the bitter end, there's been some news lately on a bunch of websites about Candice Patton. Someone's been digging up some old tweets of hers from 2012, 2013 kind of thing. and it looks like someone's trying to sabotage her game because there's some nasty stuff that she said in some of the tweets supposedly, and it's like, ooh, yikes. I mean, they already fired Buddy that played Elongated Man because of some bad jokes he was cracking back in like 2010 on Twitter, and somebody tracked them all down and put them up online, and boom, he got ousted from the show. Actually, he showed up in this season, all burnt to a crisp, so you couldn't even tell it was him. And then he was no sooner there than he was gone, and that was the end of the character. So, another show that's coming back this Tuesday coming up is Superman and Lois. They've been on a wave. Seems like forever. I think the last 5 episodes. So yeah, it's been a while. So I'm hoping that comes back strong because it was a pretty good start to the season. Liking that one of the kids has like superpowers and the other one doesn't. And the whole thing. There's pretty good special effects in this show too. I'll give it that. Supergirl, in the meantime, is off until August, and then that show is wrapping up at the end of this year. So, last few episodes are going to be cranking out after sometime in August, and they'll wrap up that show for good. Actually, they're canning that one, and I think Black Lightning's in this season too. I haven't watched Black Lightning. Batwoman, that's another one I have not watched any of so far this year. I've heard that show's kind of going all over the place too. But anyhow, even though there are going to be hiatuses on the TV shows, we are coming into the playoffs for the NHL. And heaven help me, being a Habs fan, living in Ontario, I mean, shit. I was standing at the line of McDonald's one day. I was wearing my Habs jersey at work. Standing in the line of McDonald's, waiting to order my lunch. All I hear from behind me is, fucking Habs guy. I was like, what? Just because I'm wearing my Koivu jersey? Come on. There was another time some guy, me and the wife were walking into the Walmart. She's wearing a Leafs jersey. I was wearing my Habs jersey. I don't know how the fuck we thought that up. But anyway, car stops and he's like, oh yeah, I stopped here because I saw the Leafs jersey. If it had just been him, I would have kept driving. I was like, Jesus, I'm going to be roadkill? Wow. No wonder I stayed out of my cave so much. It's safer down here. Anyhow, that's going to be a doozy of a series. Most pundits online are saying that Montreal is going to get spanked out of existence in 4 games. I'm hoping it lasts a little longer than that and we at least get our money's worth from the playoffs because, you know, it's the first time since 1979 these two have faced each other, so it's going to be a doozy. I've already got a bet going with my neighbor, double or nothing. I already own 1 beer because the Leafs finished first. So now it's down to Montreal having to beat them for the playoffs, and we'll break even. But we'll see. I'll be rocking my attire either which way. I think first game is May 20th, which is this Thursday, which is perfect because I'm off on Fridays. Woohoo! So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Anyhow, I'm going to wrap things up here. 20-minute episode. Pretty much covered all the bases. Did my little Hasbro rant. Got that done. Yeah. Army of the Dead. Yep. Halston. Yeah. Yeah. Check out Halston. It's pretty good. Like I said though, read the warnings. Candice Patton. You see, I don't know if that's even true. I mean, she's well. It said it was her account, so I don't know. This whole social media like burn the witches and stuff like that thing, I just don't understand anymore. It's probably why I've got so few subscribers and my show is so off the radar that nobody ever sees it, but that might be a good thing in the grand scheme of things. Anyhow, I'm going to wrap it up. I'll probably come up with something else to rant and rave about over the course of the week, and I'll be sure to... This actually works pretty good with the Sunday stream, just doing it after work instead of trying to... Yeah, we'll see how that works. But yeah, for now, subscribe, like, tell your friends, bookmark the page, whatever. It's been a long day. Tech support. Anyhow, we will catch you on the next video.